Yeah, just a quick question on that because I was reading a bit about that, the inflammatory barricade that you mentioned. So it's basically, putting a hurdle in the path of like these bound electrons, these molecules that are antioxidants, from donating an electron and thus stabilizing the free radical. So is that pretty much, are endogenously produced antioxidants like good or really good, and then things we consume from like food are kind of like okay? I know that's obviously been overhyped, and a lot of the studies done in petri cell dishes are not indicative of like what's going on in our body. There's like way more oxygen and what have you, but then these free electrons that we absorb from the Earth's surface are like very mobile. So are they kind of like the best of them all?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Dude,
Or maybe you could explain.
that's an amazing point. I'm glad you brought that up. That's so in the scientific literature, it's called the antioxidant paradox. So it's essentially how effective antioxidant molecules are in a petri dish, but when you introduce them in the body, they're kind of strangely like ineffective. And I believe these inflammatory barricades that are distributed all throughout your body play a big part of that. And the bound electron versus the free mobile electron, that's where a lot of that difference lies. And so these free electrons, when they come into your body, they can basically semiconduct through your body's conductive infrastructure. These are the proteins in your body, along with the organized layers of water around those proteins, which is it's a whole another topic. It's something I refer to as the matrix. But that's something that's highly, I think, neglected. It's not really talked about when people talk about grounding, is this semiconductive infrastructure of your body. But yeah, so essentially the electrons from the Earth can semiconduct and move way more efficiently throughout your body, as opposed to these enzymatic and non-enzymatic antioxidants. And that's where the big difference lies, at least as far as the whole antioxidant paradox goes.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff's so fascinating. I know you mentioned water, but that's like you said, a whole different topic. But it's interesting to know how all these things are coupled, like with sunlight helping make intracellular water, and like red light, and then grounding with like taking up electrons and all this stuff. It's all connected. And I feel like what is great about conversations like this is it sort of melds all these different facets together. Whereas I feel like not necessarily in the community, but in the way we compartmentalize as humans, everything is looked at in such an isolated point of view. And that's why I thought that was a really interesting point that Tristan brought up about antioxidants, because am of the same opinion with, taking in antioxidants from like food and all this stuff. Like, while they may be okay, it's not as cracked up to be as they say it is. And I think that goes back to, it's easy to market things like food and polyphenols because it's sellable. Whereas like this stuff is like way more powerful, but no one's selling you could, like, you're selling a book on it, you're writing a book on it, but it's not a super popular, there's not much you can go. There's not a lot of room to grow, where it's like, I think food is so malleable.
It's free.
Yeah, it's free.
It's free.
So